Hi, everybody. Just waiting for a few more attendees to show up. Patricia will give me a go-ahead at a certain point here, I think. In the room, we have Robert Giles, Patricia Fergal, I think Kent Smith is online. And then, obviously, we have some of our rep partners online, too. Just a note for everybody, one of the things that we did was we moved the Path Tracker demonstration off to another meeting, and the reason for that is that we had I think only one or two people who were interested in that primarily, and we were kind of packed with the amount of information we had to do, so we'll add a meeting for that. And the PathCast also, we're not going to go into depth on the PathCast. We're going to focus in on the gross imaging today. Get started. Okay, so let me get started since we have limited time and we want to get through our material. So a little housekeeping to get started. We've done some introductions of who we have on our side. That's Patricia Fergal, Robert Giles, Kent Smith, and myself, Phil Merlo, the pathology director here for the portfolio. Couple notes, the session will be recorded, so we'll send you out a link in case any of your colleagues couldn't make it. You can give it to them. The other thing that's going to happen is we're going to mute the audience during the presentations, and so please type in your questions to the chat box, and we'll address them during the open Q&A part of the session, as well as we'll send replies out with answers of any questions we don't get to. Note that at any point we can set up additional meetings to cover, topics or more depth on any of the products that we're going to cover today. And as I said before, we've moved two of those products off to their own meetings already. But let's get going. First question is, what do we want to do, or what do we hope to achieve with doing gross imaging? And I'm going to pop through some of the common things that people are looking to do. There's surgical requirements. There's a new accreditation, national accreditation program for rectal cancer, calling for 65% of the resections to be photographed and documented. Another thing is telepathology links to the surgical and pathology suites from the gross lab for dissection consults. Another one is professional publication quality images to go along with research papers or to be used for teaching. They would like to save time on image acquisition, annotation, and archiving, going from either hand drawing or consumer digital camera use. Others would like to have their images organized, and so there's a repository management. We've heard from multiple locations that they lose their images. That's not so fun. Then finally, teaching and training, both live and recorded images. And which brings up, the next step on our little segue here is how are you going to budget for purchasing any of the equipment? I just want to bring that up while I got your attention. There's some key funding times of the year or of projects for surgical departments and grossing departments. Basically, lab renovation or expansions are key times to get funding for gross imaging. Generally, the standard operating budget will not purchase the cameras. And note that that's a 1 to 3 year cycle, and you got to do it up front because there's never going to be any funding at the end generally. Network hospital acquisitions. Oftentimes they're consolidating the people at remote hospitals back to the main hospitals, and so they're looking to get telepathology consults up and running there. So during and post-acquisition is a good time. Legal settlements, we had UCSD as a result of a legal transaction. They're purchasing additional cameras and to do better documentation. When you go to that budgeting, you have to actually do value justification. So this national accreditation program for rectal cancer, oftentimes you can get the surgical department's participation in the purchase. They have more money. It's easier to do that. saving time, you should know that surgical sites, the surgical suite, is running at about $68 per minute, and that doesn't include the surgeon or anesthesiologist cost, so there could be a great savings there. Also, by reducing the time, they reduce the amount of surgical site infections. When you reduce the number of surgical site infections, you cut the mortality nearly in half. Morbidity is cut by about a third, and hospital stays are shortened by 3 to 5 days, not years. Saving time and grossing, basically we worked with Duke and they did a little study, and on a mastectomy case, they went from 50 minutes down to in the 5 to 10 minute time frame for doing the documentation there. So you have higher pathologist and PA efficiency. Then we talk about professional images, and what happens is you increase patient satisfaction. This will actually increase your reimbursement modifiers. Supporting training and reviews gives you higher efficiency for your staff support. And then the last thing is, we call it the CSI effect on legal cases. And basically there's studies that have been done that show that professional quality images actually enhance the positive outcomes on the cases. So those are just a couple things, how to get your budget. So let's get to the fun part now. It's basically looking at the systems that we have, and it should be noted that Spot is an industry standard. We have a very large number of different grossing systems, and they're targeted at different types of applications. And so what we want to do is review that first here a little bit, starting off with the PathStand. And the PathStand is generally used as a central imaging station that provides publication quality images as well as documentation images, for a team or for a group of grossing stations. Another application is PathStation, and PathStation is probably the most efficient system because it's built right into the grossing hoods. It's an in-process imaging system. We can also do it on wall mounts if they have, kind of a downdraft system. Finally, PathMobile is a full floor stand rolling system. It's battery operated, generally used for autopsy, or if there's multi-room type of gross imaging that needs to be done, it can be rolled from one room to the next. On these systems, we have different cameras, so we're not a one-trick pony. We have, starting off, the G20 system, very much targeted at the publication quality imaging. It provides you a live preview of 720p HD resolution and a capture of 20.3 megapixels, I think is the actual number. It's got a 8.3x motorized zoom plus 4x digital zoom, autofocus, auto exposure, and you can find that currently on all the systems, the PathStand, the PathStation, or the PathMobile. Newly introduced just this, I think last fall, fourth quarter, was the G8, and actually the first installations happened in the first quarter. The teleconferencing is really its focus. It's a nice small package also, and it's, the real value of this one is its 4K ultra high def resolution live image, as well as its captured image. Again, it's at 4K, and that's 8 megapixel capture at that point. It has a 20x motorized zoom, so you have a nice wide field of view to a very tight, high magnification. It has a 4x digital zoom that expands that. It also has the autofocus, auto exposure. Currently, it's available in the PathStation series, and we hope that in the coming quarters, we'll have releases for the PathStand and PathMobile. The G2 we use and target it for an entry level. Basically gives you good tissue mapping. Can do publication, but you can't really crop in on the images. What you get is what you get. And so that's a live 1080p HD capture, 2 megapixel and 2 megapixel live, 20x motorized zoom again, autofocus, auto exposure, and it's only available on the PathStation. getting into the individual systems and targeting those. Basically, key features for the PathStand start off with a system that sits on your desktop and minimizes the amount of bench space you're going to take up. It has a built-in, basically adjustable lighting, which many of our competitors do not have. It's a 95 plus CRI, which means that's color rendering index, so it gives you really good color rendition. It has adjustable arms on the lighting so that you can adjust them to get rid of glare and glints. The background, we have a glass background system available, and it's a no shadow, so it gets rid of all the shadows behind your specimens, as well as it allows you to switch out the little color sheets underneath your background, making it so that you can get the best contrast there. The other thing about that is that the background can be replaced with, just below the stand is a large background board to support larger specimens all the way up to a full leg. Basically, they move around on the top there so that you don't have to move your specimen, you move the whole board, keeps things nice and clean. Basically, the other thing we have here is a foot pedal switch to do image zoom and image capture so that you can use your hands and don't have to use the keyboard. And then there's also a barcode scanner to accession the case. And then the other big thing is it has built-in arms for both your computer monitor, keyboard, and mouse that makes it very ergonomic and easy to use. And then lastly, it's a durable lab material. Nothing's going to rot or rust. And that one is based off of the G20 camera. Again, the PathStation built right into your hoods. This is all about saving time. We have standard as well as custom mounting brackets, and then basically you have all the same kind of amenities that you have on the PathStand. So you have foot pedal control, barcode scanner. We can provide you with arms for your keyboard, mouse, monitor, and computer, and it's basically made out of durable lab products, materials. Cameras available go all the way from the G20, the G8, and the G2. PathStations fit into existing hoods. This is Mopec, Thermal, the Moratech, or we can customize them to fit the needs of a hood that we haven't seen before. And if you don't even have a hood, we have basically our column mount or a wall mount to put them onto other lab situations. And if you're buying new hoods, basically we can mount them directly into the plenums if you would like, or if the roof of the plenum is pretty high, we can still hang them below and put them pretty much anywhere you want. Lastly is the PathMobile. Key features on the PathMobile is that it's a cordless, battery-operated system so that you're not tripping over cords. Gives you about 6 hours of battery life. The next thing is its arm is very adjustable, both on height as well as tilting the camera head in any direction. So you can shoot down, you can shoot sideways, and you can even shoot up if you need to. That camera is only the G20 at this time, and we can talk about that a little bit later. Next thing is PathSuite software, and this is really where imaging meets the road, and it's a great centralized system that provides, first off, microscope and gross imaging camera for image acquisition, so it runs those cameras. It provides a telepathology interface. We also can go into full screen mode. We'll show you that for presentations. And then up at the top, it's about image management. We have a base archive that provides your image storage, and it provides storage for all your images. So you need research images, you need teaching images, things for consult. You can keep the vast majority of your images there. They're kept in layers so that you can actually adjust them. And then for your public presentation on your diagnostic reports, we have a transfer interface that allow you to transfer images directly into your LIS. So we allow you to do, and generally there's only 1 or 2 images provided there, and you can still have all your backup images in the main archive. PathCast was recently introduced in the first quarter. It's a secure telepathology console that's easy to use, high quality, and secure. And that's something that you don't get all 3 of those things with the commercially available systems. And so when we talk about that, easy to use is you have a contact list. You just click on a person's name, then say start the meeting, and immediately you get a high quality fixed resolution video, voice over IP that's like as good as FM with echo reduction, and a remote keyboard and cursor control from the attending person. It's also secure because it's within your own firewall. For off-site doctors, we use a VPN connection in so that it's registered and encrypted. We only sell it to clinical accounts, so not every hacker in the world has access to this. It's very unlikely that they would. And lastly, it's easy to set up and maintain for your IT department. The other thing is that we're a full, support system. We take you all the way through the whole project. We review your applications. We give you a quotation. We do pre-install planning. Then we'll do your installation. Then we can provide hardware maintenance in a couple different methodologies. We provide you, we're going over to software as a service model. So with a subscription, we're providing you a lower entry price with continuous support for your tech help, your software updates, and bug fixes, which is a good way to go. And then the other thing is that this is all part of our portfolio of solutions to handle all the different pathology type imaging applications that you need. Spot is a standard for pathology. This is just a handful of the different locations that we're at, and it's ever growing. So people take care of you. Finally, basically, we provide you with professional images. We're imaging specialists. This is what we do. We save you time, money, and most of all, space, because you have a fixed lab. You can't actually bump out the walls. You got to live in your space. We fit your infrastructure, so we go on your current microscopes, your current hoods, and we fit with your current LIS and EMR systems. It's an incremental adoption, which means that you can cover grossing one budget cycle, cytology another budget cycle, and frozen sections another. And they'll all work together and tie back to the common image architecture, or image archive rather. Solid experience. Spot is now been in business for over 52 years. We'll be going on to 53 years this year. And then finally, system support. Spot Tech Help team is well known for being excellent. So, escape that. So what we want to do is transition over and show you a little bit of the real physicality of the systems. And we're now live, and we're inside our virtual demo room. What we have in our virtual demo room is a PathStand behind me, and then over here we have a mock-up little hood, and up in the hood we have the G8 camera, which will show you some images from that. And then lastly, we'll quickly go over the PathMobile and show you some of the features on it. Interestingly, they all use the same software. So what we're going to do is start this off by showing you a software demonstration on the PathStand after I give you kind of the hardware part of it. So when you look at this, everybody first, their eye catches this big black thing on the top, and that's called our canopy. And the canopy is used to block any lights that might be overhead, which would interfere with your best imaging. Down below here, we have the glass top here, and the lighting here, and you can see that the lighting is not hot, it's adjustable, and I can even turn off one side or the other to do the different types of lighting. You'll see below here, I have actually the colors, changing things, colored backgrounds, as well as we have stored the large cutting board too. So, camera sealed here. We have the monitor and computer are mounted on an arm. The keyboard and mouse are mounted on an arm here. They're adjustable up and down and tilt, so you can make sure that you're comfortable, and they're not taking up precious bench space. On the floor, which I'll just pick this up so everybody can see it, we got the 3-pedal mouse, which basically provides zoom in, zoom out, and the center panel providing image capture. Once you captured, return to live mode is the center panel again. And we have the barcode reader here, which accessions into the case. So I'll make that as our transition point, is we'll accession into the case, and we convert over to...
You can launch your screen is being shared.
Okay. And I'm just going to come into, here's live. Okay. So, two ways you can log into a case is if you don't have the barcode reader, you could type in numbers and come into a case, and that, you'll notice, brought us in. Another way is to just, I'm going to beep into the case, and we came right into the case, and there's already images on this case, so that we're right in it already. Zoom up a little bit here, and we have multiple images there. And that gets us into the case. And so this is our live mode. And with our live mode, we can, adjust the field of view by zooming out. And I'm going to zoom all the way out. And so this is the smaller glass board. It's good for medium and small size specimens. You can see in the background, I can change the background color very easily here so that you can select what type of background you would like to have. And the other thing about the workspace, you can see I can move the background around for getting things lined up. And what I'm going to do is zoom in. And we throw money on the board there just because it's a great resolution target, just to show you what the different things that happen with the camera. So this live mode that you're seeing right now is 720p. I can, you see me zooming in. I can adjust my brightness just with a click of a button here, and I can go make it darker until I actually see the brightness I want. We have a setting for white balance. Make sure your white balance is set once, and once it's set, that should be fine. We click down here, puts us into the full screen mode so that we can actually use the whole screen that we have available. And everything's still live here, so you can see that I can even put my finger in. Okay. I'm going to zoom out. And then to escape out of full screen mode, I go to any corner or hit the escape key, and I'm back into having my tools. So if I want to take a picture, it's a matter of just clicking the middle pedal, and it goes out there, grabs an image, and you can see over here the film strip updates and drops that image into the film strip. So if I click on that image, you'll see that it actually seems to got sharper, and it actually did. And to demonstrate that, we have digital zoom, so I'm going to zoom in on it, and we can see good old Abe right inside the Lincoln Memorial down there. And then what else is interesting is that engraved on the top of the Lincoln Memorial is the name of all of the different states. And I go over here because, you know, it's lovely Michigan. We're having a lovely, hot and muggy day today. So, all that said, you have the resolution that you need, and then if you look at here, we've changed all the tools so you've gone into our annotation mode. And with our annotation mode, you can do things like drawing blocks where everything's at, and, we had it set up for in the other mode. Okay, so this is, generally we set it up for specimens being A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. They actually had it in the custom specimen drop down, and so we actually have this big number in there. We also can draw basically section lines, and it auto labels. Here's -1, -2, and that way you can call out those sections within your dictation. If you want to label things or count with letters, you can count with letters. You can count with numbers. And if you would like to draw blocks in a whole different way because they're not exactly square, you can go to your heart's desire and make them polygon. Or if you want to just draw freehand, you can do it that way. Draw circles, no problem, and point to things and label them like saying here, and that's on there. And then if you want to write text anywhere, just draw the box with the text tool, and we'll call this one there, and put that one in. Also, what's interesting here is that I can go in, because I hate typing, I'm an engineer and I usually type everything wrong. We have what's called the text stamp. And when we click on that one, it gives you basically a list that you can enter the names in of anything. And so let's say here's inferior, and then let's do anterior. Here's ER, HER2 is in there. So we can have basically all of my favorite, words in there. If you have to type a word, just click in here, go into the annotations and measurements, add, I'm going to add my name because I love my name, such a great name, and just say add it to it. And now when I go over here, my name's in the list, so that every time I want to use my name, I can just drop it in, okay? So it's really easy to use. I mean, when we brought this feature out, we were at our customer and they said, oh my gosh, this is like Christmas. And then they said, no, I'm wrong. It's better than Christmas because it comes every day. So I was pretty flabbergasted. It was a great system. So let's go back to another image. I'm going to click over to, front of Abraham Lincoln I caught previously, and these were images that were already there, pre-caught. And you're going to tell me, gee, Phil, you forgot to save the image. And you really don't have to worry because we're always saving. So if I go back to that image, you can see that all that stuff that I wrote on there is already saved. But then you say, well, gosh, that's crazy because that was supposed to be my clean image. And that brings us to these tools that we have over here. And these tools are really nice because I can click on any image. Let's say I click on that image and I click this one here which says duplicate the images. So that clean image that I wanted, I'm just duplicating this image right here. It drops in another copy of my image, and then I'm going to come over here and tell it get rid of all the annotations on it, and I'm going to turn off that, and I'm back to a clean image. The reason we can do that is that we store all of our images in layers, and all of our annotations and measurements are in layers, so that we can always get back to a clean image. The only thing that we also do is that anytime we export the images, we will flatten the image so that all those annotations are in them, and then you can open it up with any other program outside of the Plot program and see all your annotations. So I've cleaned up the image, and the next thing that's really fun to do is to come in here and start doing measurements. And I might want to measure from here to there, and I will go grab my measurement and position my measurements where I want them. I can measure areas, so I may want to say, okay, what's this area right here? And it'll measure the area for me. Or, let's say I have a colon or a small intestine and it's kind of curly. I can actually measure the distance down the center line and it'll give me the length there. Okay? And grab that.
It's in the measurement, you have to choose it.
Oh, yep, you're right. Okay, so that's how we can do measurements. We can add basically a calibration mark down in the corner. It'll drop that in. And all of these have the ability to have their colors changed, their line thickness changed, and the size of the font actually edited. So that's done. I'll go to off the image, and what you'll see is that we've actually automatically saved all that, because now when I come back onto that image, there it is again. The other thing that we do with this is that we're doing basically management of the images, and that's all these management tools here. So if we want to, and let's say I accidentally added these two images onto the back of another case, if I click on them both, I can say, cut those images. So I'm going to take them out of that. I'm going to go up here, grab, and put in a new case, and this is going to be 099 or 98765. And so I open up my new case where I barcode into it, and then what I'll do is paste the images there. So that saves me a lot of image management things, and copying and pasting and deleting. It automatically drops the images in, renames them, and now I have the images where they're supposed to be. Another feature that we have is the export function. So if I want to export this image right here, I can just click the export function. I can send it out. I can use a new name, and we'll call this, good image. Don't type very well. And I'll say export. And I can select where I send it to. And when I went over to the exported images, which is where I sent it, and I go into that folder, there's my image, and this is just basically photo viewer, and I can basically zoom in on the image and pan around if I want. Okay? So it's easy to share your images and export them that way. Coming back in, the other thing you may want to do is get images in from another source, and we can do that by saying import. And when I say import, I'm going to go to import an image, and it allows me browsing, desktop, going to patient images, and I can select, and it brings in another image. So here's that image, and I can at that point go over, cut that image, then I can go back to that case I was in before. I'll just barcode into the case, and then I can paste into that case. Actually, so let me go to the right other case. Oh, come on, barcode. I can paste into that one, and now I've pasted it into that new case. Okay, so we can do import, we can do export, we have that feature already built in. The one thing I didn't show you here is that there's a grayed out button, and that's basically the LIS transfer, and these images, you could click on an image and then just send it over to your LIS, and your LIS would now receive the images. I think that's our main, presentation on the software part of this. And one of the things to look at is, I'm going to go back and show you the difference, and we'll put the $5 bill over onto the 8 megapixel camera. And so I'm going to move over there, and we're going to switch over to the 8 megapixel camera as the presenter. There you go. So we had some flowers, you know, because we wanted everything to look pretty, you know, starting to wilt. But I'm going to pull those out, sadly, and we're going to put the I think that's probably close to the same area that we had when we were on the other one. I can go out maybe one more step. Yeah, I think we're probably close to the field of view. And I'll make a case here. And you can see if I snap the image, and now that's our captured image. I can zoom in on it and walk around. So again, you can see the quality of the image there is very good. So I think that for many of our customers, you can lean towards the 8 megapixel if you'd like. It does a fantastic job on live imaging and a very, very, very good job on the image capture. The G20 will give you okay live image and probably the best captured image that you could get. Just what I didn't show you before, let me just do one other thing. This is what I wanted to show you. I was kind of set up that poorly on the blocking. Long color, so let's change color to red. Let's change the font size to something bigger so we can see it. I'll go up to 72. And now that when I draw, you can see, and we'll make the line thickness 7. Okay, so if I draw, you can see basically how we can draw that way and auto label our system. And then if you have to change a label, you can just come into the block label or the section label and reset them. Okay, and then I would be reset. Okay, so the next thing that we would want to show would be the PathMobile, and then go to questions. So this is the PathMobile system. You can see that it's an easy to move system. You can adjust the height of your working surface very easily. You know, you've got a keyboard and mouse there. The other thing that you have is basically a hand switch. And the really neat thing about the hand switch is that you can put it right next to where you're working, and it has the grab image and then toggle back to the live mode. It's got the zoom in and zoom out, which is capable. And shortly, when we have the video capture, you'll have the start capture video and stop capture video. Probably more important, what people are really interested in is basically the arm. It extends out, and maybe move over here a little bit. Yeah. So you can easily adjust, you know, where the camera points, you know, however you want to do it, all the way to, you can see I can go upside down. So if I brought the arm down to the lower position and down even lower, you can basically then look from underneath. So that's quite nice, as well as go all the way into the upper position, which then allows us to basically take full body images that way. Become a pretty popular solution for medical examiners and autopsy suites around the United States and even in Europe. We have some. Battery operated. You plug it in. It's got some switches and it gives you basically a warning when you're low. Like right now, we've been running. I'm still at over 90%. We've been running for the last 3 hours, 2 hours. So what I want to do now is probably turn it over, and we can focus in and take questions, and then maybe answer anything that I didn't cover at this point.
Mics are open. You must have done a great job.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I just want to say as a company that generally, you know, a lot of these innovations and stuff really come from the labs themselves. They gave us feedback. We're engineers. We're not pathologists or PAs. We really get the feedback. We work with the labs. We develop basically the innovations that address the problems. And, you know, we do it in a very practical, cost-effective way. And our whole goal is day in, day out to make you save money. You know, the cost of ownership is low to make sure that you have everything.
We do have a question.
Yep.
Can you mount the monitor and keyboard on either side of the PathStation?
Yes, as well as we can use the existing, obviously, keyboard and monitor mounts. Those aren't anything necessarily super special. We can provide the installation on them.
Question is from one of the reps. Do you charge customers for the software?
Usually what we do is we give you a whole package for running it because the system will not run without the software. These are computer-controlled cameras, and that's why we can do a lot of the different things that we're doing. So the software is included as part of the package, and then in the second, third, et cetera, years, basically you're paying you know, the subscription fee to
Software updates, she's asking.
Software updates are
Do
free.
we charge for software updates?
No, we don't. And with the new, basically the new software as a service model that we're going to, which is a subscription model, you would get, let's say, OS 10 is replaced by OS 12, okay? In the new model, you would automatically get those updates at no charge, and any bug fixes at no charge, as well as when you call in and talk to our tech help desk, that would be no charge.
And now, question is, can you move the camera later on onto a grocery station?
Yes, we do that. We've done that, and actually we're doing that. We have a customer, don't you? North Shore in Chicago right now is having a camera that was in a previous grossing station, and they're moving it on to a stand? Or to a new grossing station.
So they can be moved from the mobile to
Yeah, it's just, there's
mounting hardware. That's
we just swap out mounting hardware. We can give a quote on that, and you know that's oftentimes a fraction of the original cost. Other questions? So maybe an update for everyone is,
And does the software say the last tech settings when they power down, or does it default to something else?
No, it's whatever you set it up with, the last tech settings is what it's going to come back to. So if you set the size, the line thickness, the color, that's what it's going to come back on. So it's always really that last setting that you have. There's good parts to that and bad parts. The good part is once you set it up, it's there. Bad part is if you have a different user who likes to set it up totally different than you, that's where we've had conflict. The next generation of software that we have, PathSuite 3, that's coming out, will actually have user settings so that you'll have to log in, but once you log in, then you'll pick up your own settings.
Okay. What is the battery charge on the PathMobile? How many hours?
They charge it up. The charge up, I think, is it's a 2.5 to 3 hour charge up, and it gives you 6 hours worth of run. That's with the current batteries. This is, the current batteries are lead acid. There's an option that we can get, which are, lithium ion batteries. And I think with lithium ion batteries, we can get, over 8 hours worth of, use time. As well as, if you want to, in a pinch, you can plug the system in and run off a cord. Other things, let's talk about computers a little bit. Basically, we can provide, or generally we like to provide you with a specification for your computer so that your IT department can own the computer. Because generally they're going to want to put their own image on it, they're going to want to put the LIS on it, dictation software, all that stuff. So we would actually rather have you own the computer. We can provide screens as part of the quote because we like to pick really good screens. But the computer, generally we can give you the specs and then have your team buy the computer and maintain the computers. Or we can buy the computer for you, but then turn it over. And generally when we do that, we buy a service contract with the computer so that you'll have whoever we usually buy it from Dell at that point, or HP, and provide a service contract. So, other things that, going, pardon?
How about measuring with the mobile?
On the mobile, the current version, we don't have measurements available. PathSuite 2 will pick that up. And the way that will actually happen, or PathSuite 3 rather, PathSuite 3, if you put a ruler in the field of view, you'll be able to set the calibration off of that.
Michael Matthews asked, said he joined the call late and wondered if we covered PathTracker yet. So he missed the part about that.
So, we had probably too many subjects for today's meeting, and so what we're doing is we're moving and going to provide everybody with another meeting, which will cover and actually do demos of both PathTracker and PathCast on that meeting, so that that way we'll spend a little bit more time and get focused and answer the questions there.
That's perfect. Thanks.
Okay.
Michael O'Connor, thank you very much for the presentation.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, so if you have any requests, please send them in to either our rep group or Patricia, Robert, or Kent, and we can get you out brochures, we can get you quotations, we can get you information about the budgeting and some of those how much you can save type of thing, so that if you're going for budgeting, you can show the value of getting grossing systems. All that's available. What else? The other thing we can do is so we can set up demos on site. So I guess we can wrap it up. Appreciate everyone coming out. Again, if you have questions that we didn't cover today, send them in to Patricia, Robert, or Kent, and then we can get those written up, and we'll take care of everything then.
And watch for future invites.
Yeah, we have some other seminars that we're going to set up talking about other products that we have. PathTracker, namely, which we're in the process of getting that out there, and the PathCast. It should be noted with PathCast, we have a free 60-day trial that we can set up so that you can see if it works for you, see how easy it is, and we can give you some reference sites that are using it, and they can tell you their experience. Okay?
So with that, we'll go ahead and end the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.